Incorrigible delinquent. How did you end up in the middle of nowhere in Greece? Yep. Just as I suspected. This is cotton, alright. And it's currently October, which is the cotton harvest season. Check it out. Cotton fields. And there's abundance of cotton in Greece. Cotton is a booming industry here. Cotton. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. You're probably thinking, incorrigible delinquent, how did you end up in some random orchard in Greece?
Yeah, what's the story?
Oh look, the Archaeological Museum of Pella. That looks like it'll be fun. Let's go there. And here I am, standing on the very ruins of Pella, the once capital city of the ancient kingdom of Macedonia, birthplace of Alexander the Great. And as we know, Alexander the Great would later go on to conquer all of Greece and even reach as far eastward as India.
Alright, context time. There are loads of brilliant videos out there which talk about Alexander the Great in great detail. I want to talk more about Macedon and the city of Pella. However, for those of you unfamiliar with Alexander, it would make sense for me to start with this individual who puts Pella on the map. Allow me to very briefly bring you up to speed.
Greece.
356 BCE. Alexander, the not so great at the time, is a young lad born and raised in Pella. He was tutored by Aristotle the Wise, not to be confused with other wise bearded men, such as Plato the Daydreamer, or Gandalf the Fool. Alexander the Bookworm received education in philosophy, logic, medicine, art, science, basically whatever Aristotle, the bugger for the bottle, could teach, until Alexander turned 16. At the age of 20, his father, King Philip II, was assassinated. Thus, Alexandra was swiftly proclaimed king on the spot, and was now officially Alexandra III of Macedon. He had inherited the kingdom, the professional army, and his father's ambition to invade Persia. We talked about Persia back at Thermopylae, and they're still the biggest empire at this time, so check out that video if you want more context. Like any newly coronated king, Alexander celebrates his new reign by consolidating power in killing internal challenges and opposition. He personally marched south to put down revolts in Athens and Thebes, burning Thebes in process of course. But during this campaign, my favourite interaction occurred. Remember my hype for Diogenes back at Plato's Academy? Yeah, Alexander the Great meets Diogenes the Cynic.
Alexander the Great moves up to Diogenes, casting his shadow over him, and he says, "Name one thing you want, Diogenes, for I now have an empire, and I have everything." Diogenes, he simply says, "Well, in that case, can you move out the way? Because you're blocking my sun."
Alexandra replied, "If I were not Alexander the Great, then I would like to be Diogenes the dog." Alexander the rock star launched his conquest of Persia, seizing Egypt and the Levant along the way, while leading his armies to victory over much larger Persian forces. He's hunting down the final boss, King Darius of Persia, who just conveniently keeps GTFOing right before losing the battle.
Everybody type in the chat, Alex is a stupid n***.
Alexander the Accursed, to his enemies, absolutely destroyed Darius, taking the Dobbs and dishing the L's, famously at Issus.
Oh no!
And Gargamella.
Oh no!
These significant battles effectively shattered the Persian Empire, leaving Babylon for the taking, and turning Macedonia into the largest empire of the known world. Alexander doesn't stop there. His ventures continue on to India, but for the sake of this video, let's do what Alexander could not and circle back to Pella, because now you know the extent of Macedonian reach, and where the worldview of Pella spreads into other cultures around the ancient world. This is the time known as the Hellenistic period, in which Greek thought, culture, and tradition becomes damn right universal. And it all starts here, in the city of Pella, where I walk the same steps as the citizen who exported it, Alexander the Deceased.
Imagine once, thousands of years ago, there would have been so many Macedonians, Greek Macedonians, living out here. After the Roman Empire came, it gradually started to fall into decline until, well, now you see it. See what's left of it. Let's go over to those pillars over there. I want to check them out. The house of Dionysus. Here we are. The very house of Dionysus himself. One of it's a chap. He's named after the god. Whoever this bloke was, he had a really nice floor. Look at that mosaic flooring. I'm pretty excited. Wow. Unfortunately, I don't think I can touch this pillar. And why would I want to? Why would I want to disrupt the archaeologists at work to preserve and restore this great ancient city? We can touch this pillar though. Yes. Oh man, I love it. I could touch this pillar right all over. Ancient history. It never felt so good. I apologize you had to see me like that. Anyway, here's the ancient pillar of Pella, Macedonia. At least part of it. And here the rest. In the apparent house of Dionysus. Was this one perhaps the biggest house? I don't know. Oh, here's another pillar we can touch. Oh, jolly good. Wow. I wish I could talk more about this ancient city and these pillars. However, sadly, I'm a bit ignorant on much of the history of Pella. Only found out when Dionysus, my taxi driver, told me this place exists. If you remember him, he's the taxi driver from Litachoro.
Myth says that he was transformed in a big bull. He stole women from Crete.
But he has a wife though.
So
So it's times like this, well, I wish Dionysus would just emerge from behind one of those pillars maybe, say hello, and then he would just talk about history. He was good at that. Miss him already. We could really use his brain right now. But alas, we'll have to make do and imagine, use our imaginations to figure out how these people of Pella lived. They must have been pottery makers. Some of them must have been trained in the art of war, like Alexander the Great. I'm sure many of them also like to party and have fun. Hence the name Dionysus. And this is his house. Maybe they'd like to come to his house and party on down. Greetings from the ancient city of Pella in Macedonia. Well, was once the capital of the ancient kingdom of Macedonia. Dionysus, if you're watching this, thank you very much for recommending this place to me. Come on, there's a lot more Pella to see. Goodbye, House of Dionysus. Goodbye, House of Dionysus. Mosaic tiling. Well guys, I have learned and can confirm the House of Dionysus is indeed the largest building in all of Pella. Dionysus, that lucky son of a gun. He has more mosaics, including one very famous one. Not this one, but it's a pretty cool mosaic nonetheless. Could it be this one? No. We're looking for the one with the line. Oh no. It might not be in existence anymore. That's sad. I can definitely indeed confirm that there was once a mosaic depiction over there of Dionysus himself slaying a lion. hunting it. Although, sadly, I believe that mosaic might be lost to time, but you can still see the outer rims of the portrait. Maybe it'll be in the museum, which you have to pay for to get in. So if that is the case, I apologize, but I'll let you know. I'm sorry I got your hopes up, guys. And here, in the ancient city of Pella, I have found the Helen house. Once the second biggest house in all of the city. The mosaic flooring down there, depicting a Greek Macedonian fighting against two Amazons. It's intriguing. This house is dedicated to Helen of Troy. In the legend, she was famously abducted by Paris of Troy. And there you can see the very edge of this building, well, where the pillar still stands actually. What's this? Stag hunting. It's another mosaic. This picture is depicting two Greek Macedonians hunting a stag or a deer. That was the flooring in this building. The north wing of the house. Here's another view of the pillar on this side. And we have another mosaic flooring here. I wonder if this is depicting the abduction of Helen. Oh, it's depicting a myth. If you guys know this. The abduction of Helen by Theseus.
You're probably familiar with the famous legend, the abduction of Helen by Paris of Troy, which immediately caused the Trojan War and the horse it snuck in on.
They'll name condoms after this.
But did you know the lesser known myth, the abduction of Helen by Theseus? Basically, Theseus was thirsty to marry some divine e-girl, so he kidnaps Helen, the underage princess of Sparta. Helen's twin brothers, Castor and Pollux, are naturally pissed, so they journey to Athens to save their Imotochan. Anticlimactically, they find her and bring her back home with little to no resistance. That's because her abductor was trapped in the underworld for trying to help his mate kidnap Persephone at the time. Yeah, that's basically the legend. Helen would grow up to get kidnapped again by Paris.
And over here we have the public archive. It's the ancient equivalent of a modern day library. Sadly didn't stand the test of time due to a devastating earthquake. And this would have been the entrance into the public archive. The old sewer system, an old drainage. Even an ancient city like Pella had a sewer system. Drainage is a pretty key infrastructure if you're gonna run the capital of your empire in that very city. Unless you want all of your citizens covered in shit. And just up these steps over here, we are taken into the Agora. The Agora of Pella, Macedonia. And it essentially would have been the city centre for the people of Pella. They would have their discussions, they would tend to the markets, it would be the very hub of commerce and trade, which kept this city going. Clean cuts. Oh, jumping spider, I believe. Yep, clean shaven cuts across the brick and the pillars. And look, piece of rock. Yeah, also shaven here. A rock that belonged once to this ancient city. Well, it still does actually. It is still a rock of this city. Oh, how cool. Oh, we can actually touch this as well. Check it out. I imagine this is a piece of vase. A clay vase. And that would have been a big industry here in Pella. Pottery was massive in this classical Hellenic times. Oh, that's so exciting. But wait, there's more. the sanctuary of the mother of gods and Aphrodite. Guys, we may have found her. Going deeper into the Agora, which is now mostly just a grass field. I mean, you can still see some structures around the Agora, yonder there and there, and the poetic lonely tree. I am now in the east wing of the Agora. Here would have been pottery shops, terracotta figurines, and other various workshops around, all hosted in these buildings here. And check it out, you can see part of the drain over here. Maybe an ancient sewerway. Do you think we could probably buy a nice terracotta model somewhere here? Probably not. It's probably too desolated for that. I don't think anyone's in business right now. Oh, see, I can go along the walls, Assassin's Creed style, of the east wing of the Agora. Notice how many of the buildings actually have two rooms. Probably a shop for the front, and then the room behind probably would have been the living quarters. Maybe. Let's take a walk around. Over here is the northeast side of the Agora. Ride now, companions. So this would have been the road. And this trim here would mark the buildings. Over there would have been the very centre of the Agora. Let's go up to those two pillars over there. Neat. Marble. On the northern side of the Agora, this is where they used to host the magistrates and the civics of the society. They would live right here in pretty equally proportioned building sizes. Well, what's this? City magistrate would live here, as well as all those other buildings down there. So we'll take this road to go home, or probably to attend to administrative duties, whatever a local magistrate would do. I hope they perform their functions well while Pella was around. I'm sure many of them would have been probably as corrupt as our politicians we have today. Northern wing of the Agora and the eastern wing of the Agora. I found a shortcut. And involves a bit of climbing one of the buildings of the Agora. What's over here? I found a sanctuary of the mother of gods and Aphrodite. I wonder if she's home. Uh-oh. What happened here? This is not good. This is not good. I'm at the very site of the mother of gods and the temple of Aphrodite herself. Unfortunately, as you can see, the temple didn't quite stand the test of time and has thus fallen into decay. Yep. See all the marble rock left here. People would have come here, congregate into this very temple and worship, pray, have their ceremonies. Oh, it's nice to be in the shade. I want to worship Aphrodite too. Whoa, Let's go down the ancient steps of the temple. Hello? Probably would have been a... Oh, there's a lizard over there. Hello? And there's some really big spiders. Maybe a tomb? Could have been a tomb. Whoa. I nearly fell down the ancient steps of Pella. So you can see all of the foundations of the wall edges. Which was once for the temple of the Mother of Gods and Aphrodite. It's beautiful, nonetheless.
I chilled around the rubble of the earthquake-struck temple, making my prayers to the best goddess, Aphrodite. Probably the most religious activity from this site since the 1st century.
Other than the gap of information here and there, I would say this is a very well-preserved city. Alexander the Great never lived long enough to see the Roman Empire take over Pella, eventually bring it into decline as other Roman cities were of more importance. But Alexander the Great still had a pretty impressive empire. He ruled it fairly good, enamored by the Persians' tactics of administrative skills in managing an empire. He ran it pretty effectively for his lifetime from this very capital of Pella.
Alexander did not conquer for his own sake. He sought to create a vast and diverse empire that integrates various cultures. In this sense, his governance was a fusion of Greek and Persian elements, although the further east he ventured, the less interest he took in Pella. Finally, at the age of 32, he died of mysterious circumstances in Babylon, never to return home.
After his death, his generals split the empire, and the empire, fragmented now more than ever, fell into decline, each and every single one of them.
The generals carved up territories of the empire amongst themselves, each one proclaiming a Hellenistic kingdom, ruled directly by that general or their descendants. The division led to a king of the hill style royal free-for-all, causing decades of bloodshed and chaos in the name of personal ambition and supremacy. But the greatest victims in a post-Alexander world were the independent city-states, doomed to be annexed by larger empires, and democratic ideals were discredited in favour of monarchies with...
And thus, due to the infighting his generals caused amongst themselves, the Roman Empire could sweep in and take it all from him. That was a legacy of Alexander the Great's empire. As short as it may have been, it's still a part of Greek identity to this day, and of Macedonian identity. I'm very thankful to the archaeologists hard at work, keeping this place well preserved. As difficult as it may be to get here, it's not an easy location to come to if you don't drive a vehicle. It still fills me with wonders to be here at this very site. The city of Pella itself might look like the smallest city you've ever seen, but don't underestimate its size and its power which it had over Macedonia. And now I'm walking through the lovely neighborhood of Pella, at least the new Pella. No longer the ancient capital city of Macedonia, but a small, quiet little village. Pella, how quaint. The honor of living here in such close proximity to Alexander the Great's city. I know if I were living here, I'd feel pretty good. We are now entering the museum exhibition. Here we have a good visual image of the Macedonia Empire itself, starting out in Pella, where we are now. It extends through the Middle East, basically all of Iran, throughout the very far eastern reaches of India and parts of Egypt. There have always been Hellenic influences throughout this entire region of the world. The Battle of Issus. Some missing stuff in this painting, but that is Alexander the Great himself, right there, battling it out against the Persians. And here we have a sculpt of Alexander the Great. You can probably see a bit of damage of smoothness to his nose and chin. Apparently, this one was done by one of his favourite sculptors. And here's a good visual image of how Pella used to look like. That's where we were, the Agora. That's where the temple of Aphrodite and the mother of all gods are. The northern wing and the eastern wing, where we explored. The house of Helen and Dionysus. And all these lines, this grid, was once the road of the city. And up there is the palace. It's probably the palace where Alexander the Great was born and lived. These are roof tiles bearing the inscription of Pella. You can see it out here. Pella. The old coins of Pella. Wow, look how small those ones are. Obviously, they would have been produced at the mint. The coins would depict whatever ruler was in charge at the time. Alexander III. And those are his coins. King Cassander over there. And then under the coins that were used by Rome.
This is copy. Original archaeological site. This and that is original.
Yeah, okay, so I noticed this from the archaeological site and it was missing. Thank you. Do you remember what we saw earlier? We couldn't find it. We couldn't find this very mosaic here. The hunting of the lion. We found it in the end. Slab table. A luxurious furniture for ancient Pella. And here we have Dionysus and the panther. And the griffin tearing apart the deer. Mosaics which belong to the house of Dionysus. Now being preserved here at the museum. Marble statue of a horseman with all of his limbs and his head gone. And half of the horse's face. Bits and pieces of Pella. The world of woman. All of these faces of women here. Wow. The jewellery that women used to wear. And here are the models from various shrines. Many people form around cults, like Aphrodite over there. Terracotta. Of course, the shards of pottery. And this is what Dionysus' house used to look like. Here are some examples of the terracotta figures. It's basically like a collection of anime models. Ancient models for your hentai collection. More terracotta figures. Here you go, you sick fucks. And here is what the interior of a building in the Agora would look like. Yep, it's a reconstructed ceramic workshop and the eastern wing of the Agora. Check out this Greek mosaic I found. It says Pella, and the L's look like half-finished A's, and the A looks like an A. Pella. Beautiful Greek mosaic depicting, of course, the old pillars. Very cool. Check out the old foundations of these ruins here. I just found this on the side of the road. They were just here, inviting me, calling me to come and check it out. The archaeological site is off over that way, so I imagine these ruins here would be an extension of Pella. There is more to the site of the city of Pella, more that meets the eye than in just simply the excavation site. It's beautiful. Goodbye, Pella. Back to Thessaloniki we go, onwards and upwards. Oh, fantastic, a phone service. I can call a taxi to get me out of here and... never mind. Well, I'm still waiting for a bus, but I am beginning to believe that the bus is not coming due to the lack of public services and infrastructure here in this area of Macedonia. I reckon I'm probably gonna have to hitchhike. Otherwise, it's a very long hike to Thessaloniki. So, wish me luck.